Welcome to Elevate with Elsner. Join us for inspiring conversations with individuals who have transformed their lives and are making a difference through the work that they do. And now, here's your host, Blake Elsner.
Today on Elevate with Elsner, we are thrilled to welcome Thomas J Bommarito, the owner of Green Light Dispensaries. As we welcome Tom to Elevate with Elsner, it's essential to highlight the responsible and balanced approach that Green Light Dispensaries take in the cannabis industry. We all know that moderation and responsibility are crucial when dealing with anything. And Thomas has been a strong advocate for ensuring that consumers are educated on proper usage. One of the most powerful aspects of the cannabis industry, especially in the medical field, is its potential to provide an alternate to opioids. In a world where opioid addiction has become an epidemic, cannabis offers a way to manage pain and other conditions without the same risk of dependency and harmful side effects. Thomas and his team at Greenlight have been at the forefront of this movement, especially in my state of Missouri, helping countless individuals transition from opioid use to a cannabis much safer, sustainable for managing health. I've seen it myself. I've been able to get off Xanax, and every once in a while, if I have an anxiety issue, instead of being able to have to resort to Xanax, I can just eat a small little edible and it takes it away. It actually does even better. I've seen my future relatives, everybody that has some type of a chronic issue, whether it's ulcerative colitis, certain things, it is truly a helping cause with things. So I just want to jump into it. I appreciate you coming on here.
Hey, thanks for asking me to do it. I appreciate that. A little bit about what you were saying, we started medical, obviously that's how it all kind of starts anyway. We've helped a lot of people. We were so convinced it would be good for the community. We even did free medical cards in the beginning because it was kind of expensive to get one. So we did that for a lot of people and that helped build a lot of loyalty in the beginning. And we still have, I think now the state has still about 150,000 medical patients that still keep their card. Obviously, when it went rec, you don't have to pay that fee and people just rather do that just for monetary purposes. But being a medical patient does offer some big advantages, right? It gives you job protection in the state of Missouri. So if somebody, I'm sorry about the background noise, I'm at the dispensary today. But
yeah, that's right. We like that.
But anyway, the background, I'm sorry. So a lot of people get job protection. So like if they're a nurse that has the same issues like with you with anxiety, they can still take that and not lose their job, or be tested. Also, it gives parents of children that are maybe in a court battle, and somebody says, oh, he smokes marijuana or she smokes marijuana, she shouldn't have custody of her children. Well, if it's a medical use, then it's not illegal. So it's helped a lot of people in that manner too. So it gives you some protections and it's a little cheaper too. You save some money on taxes as well. But anyway.
Yeah. Totally.
Hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah. And I have come to tell people like I had been a medical user, medical marijuana license holder so I could switch off of Xanax. And since when it was 1 year, mine expired. Now it's 3 years, which is even nicer in the state of Missouri. So you only have to do it, get the doctor. And a lot of times they're going to see your prior history and you kind of tell them and they know it's like this. When you look at alcohol, how much it's affected people's lives, there is not a pro to moderation of alcohol. There's really not. But when you look at a moderation of medical marijuana, there is some truly insightful and impactful things that have helped people's lives for the better. So just tell me about like, is there a good story that, where you've really put someone back on their feet, not only through this, but you're creating jobs, you're creating security, transport. There's so many things that you're creating through this industry that's not just helping people help with their health, but it's also, helping the communities and giving jobs and whatnot.
I had a really interesting interaction a couple of days ago at our Rock Hill location. A gentleman named Tom, I won't say his last name, but he was very sick with cancer. He even spent several months in Atlanta at a special cancer. He had stomach cancer. And this has all been going on for a year, which I didn't know. But anyway, they treated him. It did not work. he looked up Rick Simpson oil, right? And he started taking that through our stores. High dosages, by the way. His cancer is gone. He put it in a capsule and now he's fine. It's amazing. And he pulled me aside because I guess he recognized me. He goes, I want to tell you a story. He even sent me a video that he made for YouTube and whatnot. So it's amazing. I mean, people are right now, one of our mayors of one of our cities struggling with the same thing. And we have him doing the same thing as well. And he's doing his chemo and all that. He just had a good scan. So there is some amazing things that, this plant can do. Besides, helping with anxiety and getting people off opiates. I used to take a medicine to sleep at night and it would make me wake up groggy. And now I just take a 10 milligram gummy with a little bit of THC, a little bit of CBN, and a little bit of melatonin, and it helps me sleep. So, just from the simple things like that to the critical things that Tom was going through himself, so it's amazing. And, I always knew it was nature's a funny thing, right? I mean, I guess I'm kind of, the stuff on the earth is here for a reason, right? And, big drug companies don't like it, but we're also learning a lot. We had a football player that came to one of our meetings at the MoCan trade, and he was a Texas ball player for a long time. He had really bad neuropathy, and the people were telling him he had to cut his feet off to stop it or whatever. He switched to marijuana, and he didn't have to do that. And now he's got his own grow in a state. I can't remember which one, but he's gotten into the industry due to that fact. It saved him. So don't give up. If you've got issues on anxiety, other things, try it. But it's not a bad thing. And there's a lot of research now being done, and the cannabinoids in the plant and your brain work together, right? And doctors are just starting to learn about it because they didn't even teach it in medical school. So it's really interesting. But anyway, just talking about the state of Missouri, we've created 20,000 jobs so far, and now we're $1 billion industry. Now, that was not me all personally, of course, but with all of us collectively, between dispensaries, grows, manufacturing licenses, and all those things, it's a new industry. People are thriving in it. We have bud tenders, we have security people, we have, like you said, transport people out there doing their jobs. So it's created a lot. I have a card. I think my agent ID badge says 117 on it for Missouri, but now there's 20,000. We're hiring new people, and now they're getting a card number with 20,000 on it. So
Wow.
It's amazing that how much it's grown in what a few short years. So
yeah, that's incredible because I mean these people are finding a passion as well. Like when I go into, just perfect example is that Rock Hill store. Like you said, I know when I walk in there that you grow, cultivate, do everything to your own product. And the Greenlight products, obviously you carry other products, but the Greenlight products in general, you know exactly what you're getting. And that's the awesome part, because I can look at you and say, hey, I know exactly where this is coming from, exactly what they're doing to it. And that makes you feel a lot better, I think.
Absolutely. And that's really with every brand. I'd call it like a closed loop system. We're not getting any transported products from any other state. We have to grow it here in the state. And the minute you plant that seed in the ground, we give it a number, kind of like a VIN number on a car, and that plant is tracked all the way through the final user, right? So let's say we plant a plant and it doesn't do well and it dies. We have to report that to the state and say this plant is no longer in our system, right? The other thing that the plant does grow and we decide to use it as flower, then we have to identify that. Then it gets sent out for third-party testing. So there's testing labs. There's 10 of them in the state. That's another business. And those people test that product to make sure there's no carcinogens in the water or anything that could hurt people. They test for everything. Then and then they also give you a THC count as well. So that's called a COA, right? So then once they know what that is, then that's transported as flower and jarred, and then that metric tag number stays with that jar. And then when we sell that jar to you, we know who bought it, and that way if you had any issues with it, we know where it went or where it came from and all that. So the best part about this is it's taken a lot of dangerous stuff off the streets. Not only physical danger that you could get in buying it, or maybe get robbed or hurt, but it's also taken the opportunity out of somebody lacing your stuff, right? We've had some people say they got fentanyl in weed before, which, fentanyl could kill you. It's crazy. There's a lot of fake stuff going on out there, or counterfeit, and this takes that out. Another thing that was astonishing to us is, we seem to attract. We have some young patients, of course, 21, and now it has to be 21, but our medical patients could be 18. But most of the customers coming through our door are people my age, middle-aged people, because they're old hippies that don't want to be in that situation. They don't want to deal with all that. And women love it too, because they don't have to sit around waiting for the guy to show up and trying to, romance her or whatever you want to call it. So we have a lot of women in our stores too that like it.
I joke. Well, so I wear a Whoop every night and it tracks my sleep. And there's one thing which is kind of interesting. It gives me a plus. Like, my recovery is higher when I eat an edible. So how about that? Now, if I have 2 beers, I'm already in the red, no matter what. Crazy, right? So I stay in the green with this. So it's pretty fascinating how I sleep better. It's just, and you're not taking melatonin. You're not taking cyclobenzapine. You're not taking medicine to put you to sleep. And that just makes you so groggy and out of it. This is stuff that, like you say, it's in the ground. It's supposed to be with us. Yeah, that's right. You asked the question earlier of like how we got involved or whatever, but I went to Las Vegas with my kids back in 2017 or something, and they had just legalized it then, right? And we went to a dispensary, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing, and I'll have to admit, full circle here. In high school, I used to sell weed. Yeah. Who didn't, right? Yeah.
So, and it didn't work out so well. I got kicked out for that, but full circle, right? But anyway, it's always been an intriguing thing. But anyway, so we saw that, and I'm like, this is amazing, right? Look at the people waiting here, and look at the people, that want to use this and couldn't do it before, at least legally, So we got interested then, and I ran into a gentleman there that owned a place called Acres Cannabis at the time, and he was in the process of selling that to Curaleaf, who's a big publicly traded weed company out there. But anyway, so, but he was from Missouri as well. Actually grew up in South County where I grew up, and he went to Lindbergh High School. So we started talking, and he said, hey, Missouri's coming on board, right? So we formed a partnership because I knew nothing about growing weed. He did, obviously, because he had a big grow out there and a couple stores that they sold to Curaleaf. We've since bought them back, by the way, which is a whole circle. Yeah, because they kind of mismanaged it a little bit. These big companies get too big, and we have certain, I guess, criteria that we want to follow. One is patients are first. We want everyone to have a great experience. If we can do that, the rest is easy, right? So, but you have to treat your customers right, and we know that for our business as well. But anyway, so. Talking to John, he and I formed a partnership, and my brother and my son actually too. And we have our grows over in Kansas City because he brought his people from Vegas with him, and so they kind of manage the grow for us, right? But we own 2 of them, and he won 1 as well, so we have 3 grows over there. We have over 265,000 square feet of grow space right now. So we have a lot of weed. It's amazing. But yeah, just the science behind that. I've learned a lot about that. I was no expert. But I knew a lot about retail as well. So growing up in the car business and whatnot. But anyway, so the plan was, okay, we'll do the retail part, you do the growing part, and we'll make it work. So that's what we've done. I had a friend, the way we won the license here, it was done through a scoring system, if you will. So everybody had to write an application based on your experience, and John having a lot of experience, my partner, and then myself, was lucky enough to have a friend in Michigan that actually owns 2 dispensaries there. So anytime I wasn't working in the car business, my days off and every weekend, I would go to his stores because you had to have that application. You can't get experience in your own state because it wasn't legal, right? So he helped me with that, but he taught me how a dispensary works, and from answering the phone to bud tending to cashiering to how the metric system and all that would work, and tracking and all that. So that helped me too. So I'm thankful for him a lot. He was a great friend. He didn't have to do that, but that was nice. So,
I feel like there's always good support that helps, right? You
yeah,
got
of course.
good
Of
allies that'll
course.
help you.
Absolutely. So, but anyway, going through the state process, you fill out your application, what your experience is, what your charitable donations have been in your past. They just didn't want anybody to do this. And you had to be a Missouri resident. That helped a lot too, kept some of the big companies from coming here. We just applied in Kentucky now, and it's a lottery versus we still have to write the app, we still have to pay the money, but you got to get your name picked out of a ball, like a lottery ball. So we're not feeling great about that. I'm not lucky. I have to work for what I get, but we'll see.
And it's
So we put
completely
in
random. It's completely.
yeah,
Oh wow.
it's completely random. So, I mean, if you get your name pulled, then
Yeah.
they'll vet your stuff and make sure you can pull this off and you have the experience to do it. But they're doing that because when the licenses were issued here, a lot of people complained and sued the state, saying, well, I just missed it by 10 points. I should get a license, or you misscored my app. And so they're trying to get the states are trying to get themselves away from that and not have to fight those lawsuits. Missouri still has lawsuits going on from disgruntled people that didn't win, so it's crazy business really, but I'm not feeling great about it. We put in over 80 applications there, but there's over 4,000 people applied and there's only 48 licenses. Here in Missouri, I know it's crazy. Here in Missouri, over 2,000 people applied for 600 licenses. So, and we were blessed to win, but it was based on merit. They even deducted your last names. They didn't care what your last name was. They just wanted to know what your experience was. So that's why we won, because John was very helpful and I had some experience, so it worked out. And we had the fortitude and the money to do it, right? So that's another thing. Banks are not very helpful in our business. It takes a lot of cash to do this, and there's no bank loans that you can go get. It's hard to even get a bank to put your money in the bank when you collect it from your customers. It's getting better, but in the old days, you just had to keep the cash and nobody wanted it. It was crazy. You would hide it in your pajamas somewhere. I mean, at some point you're going to run out of room, right?
Like when we were kids, right? When we were
yeah.
throwing it through our basement windows, our parents weren't noticing, right? Yeah, no.
Right. So it's crazy. But now banking is available, but it has to be a state bank. It can't be like Bank of America or, a FD, or what do they call it? A federally regulated bank.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be state regulated. We started with credit unions, but it got so big, the credit unions couldn't handle it. It just blew up on them and they didn't have the assets to support it. So now we're using a bank called MRV Bank here in Missouri for all the Missouri stores, and they're state regulated and they have a lot of assets, so they're able to do it. But they even charge us to put money in the bank. It's crazy. I mean, it's not. We need these laws to get changed. A big thing that's been talked about with this administration and maybe the next or whatever happens, they're trying to deregulate or take this drug from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3. Schedule 1 drugs are cocaine, heroin, and marijuana shouldn't be in that category. So they're trying to deschedule that, which would then open the banking laws up. It would make it easier for everybody to get, and it would lower. We pay a tax that it's called a 280E tax, which is a tax that the federal government just collects. It's about a 30% tax. And it was designed for drug dealers, right? So if you got caught selling cocaine and you had a Ferrari and a house, they'd say, oh, by the way, did you pay your 280E tax to the federal government? Well, you wouldn't, because you would not be telling on yourself, right? So they use that to seize property. We have to pay that tax, and nothing's deductible. Not an electric bill, not an employee, nothing. They take it off your top line revenue. So that's also why a lot of these publicly traded companies are suffering, because the beer business doesn't do that, right? They don't have that 30% off their top line revenue, or the liquor stores don't have that. We're the only industry that has it. So by descheduling it, that would go away too, because that would also make it cheaper for consumers to buy, even from us. And it's already getting way closer to street prices as it is. The difference right now is, do you want safe weed or who knows what weed?
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're getting. But that tax is also hurting all the businesses in the country that are in this business, because it's silly. It's just not fair. It's not a fair tax. We don't mind paying income tax, but that's just a penalty tax. It's not fair. So for a business, but we hope that'll happen soon. That you'll see a lot of changes when that happens, and in bigger, companies like Curaleaf or Verano or some of these publicly traded companies because there's a lot of pressure. And they can, like Merrill Lynch doesn't touch stocks that are cannabis right now because they can't. But so it takes a lot of private equity for those publicly traded companies to do it. And that's a struggle for them at some point. And the stock doesn't get a lot of trading volume because there's no industry, or what do they call that? Commercial investors in it. It's just mainly people like me or you that could go out there and buy it over the counter and hope it goes up, but so the volume's not there yet either. So there's a lot of things that will change, but the business is a great business. It's a solid business, but you have to have the money. We have grown, but we've grown slowly. We've grown through cash. We have to have the money to do it. So as we make money, we're reinvesting that money. Sorry, I'm getting a call. Turn this off.
Yeah, and you have passion, you're reinvesting. And that's the thing, like you have passion for this because like you said, you don't have to do this, but this is a passion of yours and you've seen so many great benefits that I feel like you're doing this. Like you don't have to do this. You got a name. You guys have been in the car industry for so long. I've bought every single car our family has from Bommarito. So I know you don't have to do this, but you have a passion for it. And that's what's truly awesome.
Yeah, it was never really, I knew it'd be, if you run it right, it's a very difficult business to run because you got to keep your overhead low. You got to keep people moving through the stores quickly. You got to do volume, but we know that it's helping people. And my dad died last year, but when we did this, he was very angry with us. I was like, this is going to hurt the car business. I said, no, it's not. And we're not going to put Bommarito on it anyway. But yeah, it's helped a lot of community, and a lot of our customers that are in our stores also buy cars from us. So,
looking at one.
Yeah, there you go. So, but you're right. I mean, but I just felt like this is something that is a love to do. It's always been intriguing to me, and it's always helped me in the past. So, I'm not a drinker. I don't drink. I prefer to smoke a little bit, but I'm more of a gummy guy anyway at the end of the day. I used to smoke cigarettes, and I don't really like to smoke because I'm afraid I'll go back on the tobacco cigarettes, but yeah.
Well, that's the type of stuff though that's helped even yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's powerful in itself that when you're finding a passion, it can help you. And honestly, like, what do you think, like you said, the whole changing the class to kind of wrap this up here? I appreciate you coming on and talking about this. This is truly awesome. And what do you think going ahead in the industry? We get this schedule. They reclassified at the federal level and going forward, like you say, more banks and whatnot. So what do you see in the future, next 5-10 years?
I still see it being state run and state operated, and more states are doing, going into this because they realize it's great for revenue. We've raised millions of dollars, not only for tax revenue, but for the veterans. That was another thing that we put in our bill, that we wanted veterans to get money. I'm a big believer in that. And, if you served our country, you ought to be able to get health care. You ought to be able to go get whatever you need. So we put that in our charter, if you will, when we went to the state to register for our. And another thing, this state, we did all the work ourselves here. Like they didn't want it, they couldn't come up with a solution. So, but in Missouri, you can actually get enough signatures, write your own bill, and get it on the ballot. So that's what we did, both medical and recreational, because nobody likes to make decisions. Government works slowly. It's not great, but a lot of states are catching on now. But yeah, it's there's what I really see is it simplifies things. It takes the scareness out of it for the bigger banks, and then more money will be available and more people can, start a business, so, but I still think it should stay state locked in because transporting is scary. I love the idea of that this has to be grown here. So you need employees to do that, right? And fixed assets and all that to do that. Then you've got a testing lab that tests it, and there's assets involved there and jobs there. And then shipping it, there's jobs there, or transporting it. And then at the dispensary level, there's jobs there. So again, creating 20,000 jobs and $1 billion worth of revenue for the state of Missouri is a win-win, right, for everybody.
You think they would help out a little more, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope it stays state regulated, but federally not illegal, so that other states can join. And I think it'll work out great for everybody. I want to talk a little bit about. I'm going to flip this around for
absolutely.
you.
Totally.
Let me see if I can make that work. I'm not the most technical
guy. See a double tap on that screen, or there might be a little.
Yeah, I don't see that spin button.
Or you could
Well,
turn.
let's see. Anyway, maybe I can just turn it around.
Oh,
I'm
there you
back
go.
in an
Yeah.
area. I'm back in this area that's we started this probably about 3 months after, or maybe 6 months after we opened. But this is like a dispensary in a dispensary, and you see the different vendors here. And there's Tabitha.
Yeah.
We're getting ready for our underground event, and this happens once a month. All these vendors have to make a discount better than their normal prices to be chosen to be here, and then they staff this so you have people that are experts in what they're growing, selling, manufacturing, or whatever. And it's called the underground event, and we built this room for it. And we have a DJ here, and it's a fun event. We have a food truck every outside every month. We do this on the second weekend of the month, but the idea is to get more experience people to talk to our consumers that shop at our stores or have never shopped here and come for their first time and get a big discount on the stuff. And, whether they're a gummy user, a vape pen, or dabs or whatever. So each person kind of has their own little expert thing, and they bring their goods with them. We buy them and sell it to the consumer at a discount. So if you've never been to a Green Light, this is a good way to start. This one's in Ferguson, Missouri. We're right on South Florissant Road, 517 South Florissant Road. But this has been a great experience. We learn a lot from our vendors, and we keep up with them. And, they basically bid to be here because we know we have a lot of traffic, and they try to make the best deal possible for the consumer. So if nobody's done this before that I know of, and it's a farmer's market for marijuana is what it is.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty neat. I see some cool, I see Elevate in there. I see Vivid, Timeless.
Yeah, right.
So those those are some real good ones that obviously I know Elevate real well. I know there are many e-bars. They got some real good stuff. So,
and then we also do a TV giveaway. We do if you spend $75, you get entered into a raffle, and then on Saturday, it runs Friday and Saturday, then Sunday we pull their name and we give them a big TV, and so it's fun. And it's got a good vibe to it. And again, we learn a lot from our vendors, and what's happening in the market. And Missouri's done a great job of getting a lot of products out there, and manufacturers coming to our state with their expertise. And, you see some companies like WANA or whatever, they're in other states that are here now. And, they partner with local MIPS or their own MIPS and, make these products. So, again, Greenlight does all that too. But it's great to have everybody. We try to sell about 30% of Greenlight product in our stores, and then the rest is made up of everybody else because people like choices. Just like the car business, not everybody's going to buy a Ford. They want a Toyota, they want a Nissan or a Honda. So we do that on purpose. So when you shop at Greenlight, we have a great selection. We have over 600 SKUs in each store. Probably about $500,000 in each store a month that we have available for sale. So it's a job though to count it all and watch it all, but the tracking system that Metric uses, and Dutchie is our other retail software. There's a lot of compliance involved, but everything's tracked, traced, so we know where it all is and when it got sold to the end user. So it's very interesting. It's a smart business. It's a lot of compliance though, so we have to make it feel like retail. But we get inspections. We have people. So we had one today at Chippewa, just a surprise DCR inspection from the state. They wanted to make sure all our cameras were working and all of our panic buttons worked and all that stuff. But another thing, this is a very safe place to shop. The state has done that for us. We have cameras all the time on. We have to save that data for 6 months. So if there is an incident, we can, have a proof of it. So everything's on camera. Of course, we have security guards in all of our stores. We ID everybody that comes in. So you do have to be 21. Can't bring a fake ID because we use scanners, just like a casino would. So we're it's safe, it's fun, it's quick if you want to get in and out, or if you want to spend more time with your bud tender, you can. All of our people are very knowledgeable. They know more than I know. These young people that we have working for us are even more passionate than I am. So they know what they're talking about. They're on top of all the latest trends and how things work. And they've tried a lot of the stuff. We make sure they get samples from all of our vendors so they know, hey, this works this way. This made me feel that way. I mean, there's no exact science in this business like a doctor's office, but it's pretty close. If you like an indica, we got it. You want a hybrid, we got that. You want a sativa, we have that. So there's a lot of combinations. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And I know, just going into your stores, you have very passionate people that do work and they care about, even if you're recreational, they care about, your well-being. And it's no different than you walk into a bar. Say you see people sit down and they drink like you're having there. It's no different. You're having a get together and people get to understand, like only if they did that about the alcohol industry. Hey, come have some beers and understand about the alcohol industry, right?
Yeah,
And that's like it's a double standard in a way. So I think people should be more open and definitely learn from the consumers that do and the patients that do benefit from this stuff and go check out like some of these underground and green light.
Yeah, that underground runs every second weekend of the month. So if you can't make it this one's coming up this weekend, but if you can't make it this month, try next month. It's always the second weekend of the month, and it starts at noon and goes to 8 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Another thing we're doing is we're trying to make this as convenient as possible for consumers. We were just in a meeting in the city of St. Louis. They have mandated that all dispensaries close at 8 p.m. They just now changed it to 10 p.m. I think it'll be next month. Well, that'll take effect, and they're working on going to midnight. We do keep one store by the airport open until midnight on the weekends. Actually, we just went to 1 a.m. and it's drive-through only. But if you're a late night shopper, you can still do a pre-order and drive through our drive-through till 1 a.m. over there in Berkeley. So, but yeah, I'm hoping the city will expand the hours a little bit down there because they're losing revenue because people from the city can't buy weed after 8 o'clock. So all of a sudden, where they're going to go? They're going to go to the county and do it, and the city's giving up revenue. So,
or the streets.
Or the streets, which is worse, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We don't want that.
No,
we don't want that.
That's exactly right. So, no, I appreciate you coming on here. So, if anybody wants to find you, I know you even got stores you go down 55 in Caruthersville. I think there's one being built. Is that right?
Yeah,
they're all over.
We're in Haytime, Missouri, which during medical wasn't very popular, but it's close to the border of Arkansas and I can't even remember I think it's Ohio. I can't remember. But anyway, that store is booming because there's states on that corner there that don't have weed at all, not medical or recreational. So those state line stores are really doing well because people want the product and want to buy it legally, but can't do it in their own state. So they're crossing the border to do it. So I think that's why these other states like Kentucky and, we're in South Dakota, North Dakota now, but we're picking states that are limited licenses. Like Oklahoma is not a great place to be. They did it wrong there. They didn't do a scoring system, and anybody with $2,500 could open a dispensary, but they've got them on every corner. Nobody's making money. Nobody's able to police it. Nobody's sure they're testing everything. It just became, so you got to go to states that have limited licenses to do it the right way. This is expensive to do when you add all the cameras in and the facilities and all that and all the safety that people expect. And if you don't have that, in a state, that's not the way to go either. But nobody's done that ever since Oklahoma tried it, and all the states are still limiting the licenses because they know what it takes. Just the employees would have to be. The FDA is trying to take care of that now, but they need 1,000 employees just to go police these dispensaries that they know nothing about, right? So it's weird, and that's not going to work either. So hopefully they'll change their rules down there someday. But it's been a good example for other states what not to do because they don't have the budget to do it, that way. To keep everything in line, it takes people, right? They've got to look at the cameras. They've got to come out and verify you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and the state can't do that. Can't have 1,000 people doing that. They can't afford it. There's not enough revenue for them. So anyway, it's been a learning curve. There's a lot to know in this business, and we're catching on as quick as we can and going to the states we like, and hopefully it keeps working for us.
Yeah, totally. And seeing people come across from other states, it's like, okay, well, they want to trust something, right? They want to know where it's coming from. They will drive, so that way they don't have to buy it on the streets. And what that also does, it keeps crime off the streets. Of course. I mean,
that's the biggest part.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's a no-brainer. It really is.
A lot of people getting hurt and killed over a $10 bag of weed. I mean, come on, it's just not worth it. And, we have eighths now that start at $18. So, I don't think you can buy it any cheaper anywhere else. Right. And you know what you're getting, and everything's on the label,
That's
so,
right.
so it's not that difficult. And as long as you're 21, you can come in. And if you have a medical card, you can come in at 18. So, or with a parent. I've had some people's parents, like young kids that have epilepsy and things like that they come in with their children and use that, so it's medical's important too.
Yeah.
So,
and it's hard to get over that societal part, but once you realize the good that's in it, it truly is impactful. So
it sure is.
I appreciate you coming on here, and I can't wait to just watch you keep doing tremendous things in this industry. And I know you got a tremendous support system, and you're always around in that business. I watch the Instagram. You're floating from store to store. You're involved, and that's a big part too. So I really appreciate it, and I look up to what you do as a business person, and it's truly impressive.
I couldn't do any of this without our employees. They're the best, and being close with them and learning from them is really the thing. And how are you doing today? And, everybody okay? And that's important, if they're good, then they're going to treat the customers good. So that's the key, I think, to any business. And, oops. There we go. I'm the worst with technology. Thank you. My son is very smart with technology, so I use him in the business for stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, I struggle sometimes, but
that's what. Hey, you find your niche, and you get you craft that, and that's what you found out. That's why you brought the guy on from Vegas. I mean, you knew that, hey, you can't do it all yourself. You have to bring on the proper support systems. And
we did, and I'm very thankful to him and his brother and his team, and the grow side of this, and retail's been fun for us, and it's a people business. At the end of the day, it's all about people.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on here, and I look forward to following you in the future. So I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get updates as new episodes become available. And if you feel so inclined, please leave us a review and tell your friends about the show. Until next time,